So something that I harp on about all the time is having a niche in photography. And the biggest question I get back from this is, well, how do I find my niche? What is my niche going to be? Can you help me find my niche? I cannot help you find your niche, but hopefully this advice can help you find your niche, if that makes sense. So having a niche in photography it comes down to a few things. Now, there are two routes to take here. One is if you purely want to find the best thing for you to photograph for pleasure, that is one route. But then there's also the realities of life, and if you need to make money from your photography and make a business. It's great me going, yes, I photograph my niche because I love it and I make money from it. That is not an option for everybody. For some people, what they love cannot make them money, or some people cannot make money doing what they love. But, try and keep that as a thought in the back of your mind as we go through this. Now, the first thing comes down to your personality and what you enjoy. So, for example, for me, being around too many people, I find exhausting because I'm an introvert. I find it really exhausting. This I'm okay with because there's no one else here. It's just me and a wall. But having any sort of engagement with a client's situation is quite tiring for me. So working with people was never going to end well. I did it for a long time. I thought it was for me, but it turns out that no, not my cup of tea. So a mixture of my personality and then what I enjoy, which is food. And it's not gourmet food. I quite like junk food. When people hear that I'm a food photographer, they think I like fancy food, whereas in reality, I like to smash 7 McDonald's burgers together like this and sort of just Scooby snack style them down my throat. So having a think about that is a good starting point. The next one is your skill set, which probably links to that. Your skill set is probably formed from your personality in a certain way. Like, I am very meticulous. I'm very good at very meticulously creating an image. I'm very good at lighting an image. But obviously with the people, they keep moving and it stresses me out. So that's no good. So anything which doesn't move is good. So already I can see that for me personally, I need to photograph an inanimate object and probably food because I like food. Now looking more at things which are a bit more serious, a bit more sensible. If you need to make money from this, your location is key. If you are a fashion photographer in the UK and you're not in London, it is not very likely that you are going to be a fashion photographer. If you are a food photographer in the UK and you are not in London or Manchester, it is very unlikely that you'll make it as a commercial food photographer. These are just cold, hard facts of life. Now, this isn't to say that if you don't live in London, you cannot be a photographer. I don't live in London. I've managed to make it, but it was incredibly difficult and it was far harder than it would have been had I lived in London. In America, that'd be somewhere like New York. France is Paris. You get the gist. There is a reason why everything happens in these big capital cities. And the final part of this and the final working out for your niche, this is like your personality, your taste and all the rest of it. And then there is your logistics and need to make money, and if your niche is financially viable and your location works with that. But the last thing, which is very important, which most photographers do not do, is to read outside of the subject. Reading more and more photography will not help you find a niche. You need to look outside of photography into other art forms, into literature, into various forms of artwork, whether it's sculpture or paint, whatever it may be. You need to go and look at these things to try and help work out what it is you do. A lot of my influences don't come from photography at all. They come from graphic design, they come from painting and those sorts of worlds. So it's very important to have that sort of in the background just as a constant thing. Like, rather than reading another article about photography, go and read an article about something else, and it will really help sort of solidify in your head what your work should be looking like. Anyway, I hope that's helped you a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. I'll try and make a future video on it. See you soon. Bye-bye.